yang berlaku di beberapa negeri dikaitkan dengan fenomena pemanasan global dan perubahan iklim memandangkan ia berlaku di luar musim penghujan. Isu pemanasan global bukan lagi perkara baru, malah saintis sudah beri amaran bahawa fenomena ini sudah tidak boleh dihilangkan.
Awal ni kita baru saja memasuki tingkap 2017, tetapi apa yang membimbangkan mengikut catatan saintis dan juga badan-badan cerapan iklim dunia termasuk NASA mengatakan bahawa baru sahaja kita melepasi bulan Januari dan dicatatkan oleh pihak NASA menyatakan bahawa cuaca ataupun angka iklim dalam bulan Januari 2017 antara yang terpanas.
Against global warming seems to have gone bust. It started as an effort to protect the environment. It is not that anymore. UC Berkeley visiting scholar Stephen Hayward destroyed a piece in the Wall Street.
Aku mahu salam, lupakan hari semalam, sementara masih
mereka keluar masuk gua, mencoba mencari di mana ada, mencoba mendekat di mana saya, mata kasar takkan dapat jumpa, niat insur mata kaji.
Oh akulah I said I love you. Oh akulah tolonglah aku, terimaku. I'm the biggest hit, I'm the biggest hit on the stage. I'm the biggest hit, I'm the biggest hit on the stage. I'm the biggest hit, I'm the biggest hit on the stage. I'm the biggest hit. Girls like you run around with guys like me till sundown. When I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love.
No, I don't wanna know where you've been or where you're going, but I know I won't be home.
Climate change is already impacting every continent on ocean on the planet. Hundreds of scientists and experts come into conclusion of a new report for the United Nations. The report has taken 5 years to make and it is part of definite study of climate change today. Climate change has changed Earth's original structure. What is supposed not to be happen or impossible to be happen is happening on nowadays world. Malaysia also are not conclude from this problem as well. The natural disaster is becoming more serious in Malaysia because of climate change. By gaining more knowledge about climate change, the awareness has increased and it is shown through the introduction of Ministry of Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change (MESTEC). Climate change is the bad news story that is not going away. According to NASA 2014, climate change is a situation that is caused by a prolonged effect that is eventually alter the usual weather of a place. From heat wave to hurricanes, from drought to floods, extreme weather events are becoming more frequent, putting life at risk. Human activity is causing our climate to change. The carbon dioxide emissions from our cars, our industries and our power plants are heating up the planet. Climate change has consequences for our oceans, weather, food and health. Ice sheets such as Greenland and Antarctica are melting. The glaciers can cause sea level to rise and spills out of the oceans, flooding coastal regions. Warmer temperature also make weather more extremes. This means not only major storm, floods and heavy snowfalls but also drought. These changes in weather cause challenges. Growing crops become more difficult. The area where plants and animals can live shift and water supplies are diminished. In addition to create new additional challenges, Climate change can directly affect people's physical health. In urban areas, the warmer atmosphere creates an environment that traps an increased amount of smoke. This is because smoke contains ozone particles which increase rapidly at high temperature. The major cause of climate change is the emission of greenhouse gas. Carbon dioxide is the most dominant of greenhouse gases that we produce. Carbon dioxide is emitted when we burn fossil fuel to heat a home, generate electricity, or drive to the store. The other most abundant gas is methane. It is the main component of natural gas, but it is also produced when organic matter decomposes in an absence of oxygen. This normally happens in flooded rice paddies or landfill, and animals like cows or sheep that produce methane as a major product of their digestive tracts. Next, nitrous oxide also produced when the bacteria break down the nitrogen compounds and soils in the ocean. The use of nitrogen fertilizers in farming is increasing the rate at which nitrous oxide is being added to the atmosphere. The major sources of carbon dioxide was from energy industries, which is 35%, and then followed by transport industries, 21%. The major sources of methane was from landfills, which is 47%, then followed by fugitive emissions from oil and natural gas, 42%. The major sources of nitrogen dioxide was from agriculture sectors, which is 60%.
The only thing I can say about it, there are two schools, two schools of thought. Okay, satu kata there is climate change, satu kata no climate change. So the one in Europe, most part of the world, including kita, we believe in climate change. But there are some, especially in US, there are some yang kata they don't. Because climate change changes in global temperature over long period of time is a natural phenomenon. The sunspot, solar cycle lah itu kan. So baru you ada ni baru you apa? Yeah, then you have the change itu nothing to do with kita bakar fossil fuel, right? Itu dia. So this is the school of thought. So tapi siapa yang agak more convincing lah. The rest of the world, I think, believe that climate change is happening. Even US, most of them, the scientists will believe that way. Only some people, the administrator,
can we reverse? We can, if we have not reached the tipping point. The problem is we don't know whether we have reached the tipping point. So the only thing we can do now, as an optimist or an optimist, kita assume the tipping point will sampai. We can do all these measures that kita dah propose, and hopefully, insyaAllah, then the adverse impact tu can be reduced. The climate change in Malaysia itself, we look at the greenhouse gas emission. So from there, kita tahu it is tengah bertambah. Alright, from the first communication sampai the second, then go to the third. So there has been increase. Not decrease. Sungguh you don't have data on the third. That's the communication yang bagus kan? Not increase. But the increase is there. So that means the trend is increasing. Alright? In Malaysia.
As temperature rise, heat waves become more frequent that can lead to heat-related illness and dangerous cardiovascular issues. Rising sea level, unpredictable weather, more superstorm, flood, wildfire and drought will lead to injuries, property damage, homelessness and loss of life. Superstorms also expand habitats where insects live and multiply. Mosquitoes and other bugs can spread disease like malaria and dengue. As the Earth's carbon dioxide increase, air quality decline causing respiratory issues like asthma and lung cancer. Bites and salmonella raise, bacteria in water contaminate seafood and shells that will lead to gastrointestinal illness. Remote sensing is a process of measurement of information of some property of some object or phenomenon by a recording device that is not in physically or intimate contact with the object under study. This strategy primarily used for technology where it has sensor on board and have scanner or camera on it. It also can link the images down and collect information from far. The example of remote sensing application on climate change today is light detection and ranging LiDAR, which can see a laser pointing out to look features on Earth. There are a few ways to collect LiDAR data, which is by from the ground, from the aeroplane, or even from space. Through remote sensing, we also can see 3 dimensions of light and high-resolution commercial imagery. Malaysia also is well-known country that apply remote sensing by Agency of Remote Sensing Malaysia (MRSA) under Ministry of Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change (MESTEC) that provide a lot of remote sensing strategy such as dengue fever research, agriculture and flood. In flash flood, the latest data shown by MRSA reveal that the certain area in Malaysia are having flood that captured by satellite. There are a few efforts of Malaysian government do to overcome haze and climate change. For example, Malaysia commends the decisions made by the ministers of Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei and Indonesia at the 18th meeting of the Asian Sub-Regional Ministerial Steering Committee (MSC) on transboundary haze pollution held on 4th May 2016. This collaboration was agreed to prevent and monitor the pollution through conscious national efforts and regional and international cooperation. Natural Resources and Environment Minister YB Wan Junaidi Tuan Jaafar said the situation was aggravated by the hot and dry weather, causing the pollutants to float in the air. He also announced that forest fires in Berkanu and Marudi in Sarawak contribute to the haze in Miri. Other than that, the Paris Agreement under United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change (UNFCCC) aims to strengthen the global response to climate change threats in the context of sustainable development and efforts to eradicate poverty. Under Paris Agreement, Malaysia has committed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2030 in relation to our 2005 GDP. In addition, Malaysia also committed to maintain at least 50% level of forest and tree conservation. The main greenhouse gases emission contributors in Malaysia are the energy industries, transport, manufacturing industries and industrial processes, waste, and the agriculture sector. In November 2017, the Malaysian delegation participated in 23rd Conference of Parties in Bonn, Germany. The head of delegation, Natural Resources Environment Minister, YB Datuk Seri Dr. Haji Wan Junaidi bin Tuan Jaafar informed that Malaysia is firmly on track to achieve its greenhouse gases reduction target by 2030 with some initiatives such as Green Technology Master Plan 2017-2030, Energy Efficiency Action Plan, and Transportation Sector and Low Carbon Cities. Based on Chapter 1 Malaysia's Second National Communication in Energy Sector, there are 3 plausible mitigation scenarios has been proposed. The first one is energy efficiency and conservation, in which there is a gradual reduction in electricity and total of energy demand of 0.8% per year and 1.0% per year respectively in the industrial sector, and gradual reduction in total energy demand of 1% per year in commercial sector from 2015 till 2020. The second one is renewable energy, in which by 2020 about 2065 megawatts of power generation will come from renewable sources that include biomass 800 megawatts, biogas 240 megawatts, mini hydro 490 megawatts, solar photovoltaic 175 megawatts and solid waste 360 megawatts. Also by 2020, 5% of the diesel consumption in transport sector will come from biodiesel. The third one is nuclear, in which by 2020, a 1,500 megawatt nuclear power plant is expected to be commissioned. In conclusion, we should address this issue of climate change as an issue that will affect not only us but as a nation. Therefore, for the sake of a better future, let's change the world. Say no to climate change, stop global warming, stop burning activities, and save our seasons. Because good planets are hard to find. We can do that. How about you? Let's save our Earth. Let's save our Malaysia. Thank you for watching.
Aku manusia tak sempurna, tapi ku bisa berkata demi untuk mencari cinta sejati. 1, 2